This week's show brought to you by Roosters, a fun casual joint. Frank Shoup, Georgetown's big name in cars.
Welcome everybody to the Scott County Cardinals News Graphic Football Coaches Show. We are going into Week 8 of the regular season, and believe it or not, it is the final home game of the regular season, senior night. That's sure to be an emotional occasion as always, and it's a big occasion because the Cardinals will be facing the Broncos of Frederick Douglass High School. That's the new Lexington High School for those of you that haven't been paying attention. And if you have, you know that they're 5-1 on the season. They've been pulling players from a few of the other Lexington schools. I had one Scott County player the other night called it the Lexington All-Star Team. So there is a little bit of a friendly rivalry already, even though the teams have not yet met on the field. Their coach is a former Georgetown College personality, Brian Landis. It's setting up for a great matchup. 5-1 versus 5-2. The winner will be district champion and all the things that come with that, including home field for several rounds of the upcoming KHSAA playoffs. Let's look back at last week. First of all, though, the Lexington rivalries being what they are. We had another big one. First 2 weeks ago was the win over Bryan Station, and then Scott County goes into Henry Clay and just pretty much demolishes the Blue Devils in every phase of the game. I know Coach Jim McKee and several of the players referred to that as their most complete game of the season on Friday night. Final score was 57-28, was not really a good indicator of how completely the Cardinals dominated that game. It was 28-0 before the Blue Devils picked up their initial first down of the game early in the second quarter. In fact, they ran back a kick for a touchdown before they even achieved that offensively. Scott County did some great things, not only on offense, but on defense and special teams. Defensively, they held Henry Clay to 55 yards in the first half. Just never really let their playmakers get into a rhythm. On special teams, blocked a field goal right before the half when it was 42-14, and still not really within reach, but it could have been a momentum swing there. Blocked a punt in the second half that Burke Watts returned for a touchdown to make it 57-14 and really put it out of reach. Also a fumble recovery and interception on the defensive side the fumble recovery was by Sam Sutton. The interception was by Zane Wilson, who we'll talk to in a few minutes. Just an overall complete victory for the Cardinals, who, as we said, improved to 5-2 on the season. That's 2 straight victories in the district going into this week against Frederick Douglass. Douglass had an opening loss to Danville on the road way back in August. 36-0, I believe the score was. That was a running clock, which didn't really bode well for their season, but they've rattled off 5 in a row. They've beaten Lafayette. They've beaten Bryan Station last week 28-6. So they've done some things to get everyone's attention, and now we'll see how it plays out on the field. Friday night, 7:30 at Toyota Stadium. It was a big week last week. Just further review of the Henry Clay game. A couple of milestones we want to talk about. Josh Davis went over 3,000 yards passing for his career, which is hard to do in this offense, but he's been there. He's a mainstay now for 3 seasons, and he's hit that milestone, as well as Bryce Fryman going over 2,000 rushing yards for his career. He's closing in on 1,000 for this season alone, and he's done it really with a limited number of carries. He's averaging more than 10 yards per carry. Just a lot of big plays out of Bryce and a lot of big plays out of everyone. I know everything kind of the running game has set up. Glenn Covington and Landon Easley, he had a couple of big touchdowns. Easley did last Friday night. So things are really clicking here as we move into October. And now we're going to move on and talk to Coach McKee about some of those things. We'll talk to him about senior night, talk to him about Frederick Douglass, talk to him about all the great things that happened against Henry Clay. Let's see what Coach McKee had to say.
Scott County's defense shut down Henry Clay in the first quarter and set the tone for a big win.
Well, you know, I think the biggest thing that we were able to do is our defense was able to go out there the first 3 possessions they had and 3 and out them all 3 times, and you know, so we were able to build a lot of positive momentum early, and then we were able to return a punt. When we gave up the kickoff return, we were able to go right back out there and stop them again defensively and then return the punt. So we did some really good things in all 3 phases of the game.
2 block kicks were the Cardinals' first of the season after many close calls.
The special teams, is that just repetition? You're able to.
Well, we hadn't blocked the kick in 6 games, and you know, we've blocked as many as 10 kicks in 1 year before. But so we were 0 for 6. Now part of that is obviously the other teams are aware of what we're trying to do, and they're working hard to keep us from doing that. But just repetition, and really after Peyton blocked that first field goal, which he's been real close a bunch, I think he got a great feel for it, and he went out there and blocked that punt. Man, he's doing a great job for us. When you think about kids in our program, I think something we can really hang our hat on as a program is, kids that maximize their talent, kids that are getting everything they can get out of what God's given them, and he's absolutely doing that. He's not the biggest, not the fastest, not the strongest, but as far as mastering his position, he would have to be one of the top 2 or 3 on our team.
Frederick Douglass has surfaced as the best team in Lexington this season.
I'd say the city stays the same and the name changes. Whoever's going to have the best team in Lexington is somebody we're going to have to wrestle with. Way before, you were around here, I remember the first time we beat Dunbar in 2001, we celebrated like it was, we just won the Super Bowl. And I can remember when the first time we won a JV game against Tate's Creek. And if you just look in recent memory, in 13, we had to beat Henry Clay in the regional finals. In 14, Bryan Station beat us. And then in 15, Lafayette beat us. In 16, Lafayette beat us. And now this year, everybody's talking about Douglass. So, like I said, the city's the same. The name of the school just changes.
Scott County enjoyed morning practices this week due to fall break. Other than the bye week, Coach McKee says it is the most relaxed week of the season for the Cards.
Fall break week is that
best week of the year. Best
relaxed.
week of the year. A little more relaxed. If a kid gets in here at 9:03, I'm not losing my brain. When we were practicing after school, you have to at least be semi-cognizant of the fact that they got to go to school the next day. And so we're getting started by 4-ish and get all the film watched. They got to go home, eat, do their homework, come back, lift in the next morning. This is real relaxed in terms of we just tell them 9 to 12. And tomorrow we're going to do a 2-a-day where we're going to come in and go from 9 to about 11, and then I'll cut them loose for lunch, make sure they have the mandated 3-hour KHSAA break. Then I'll bring all the starters back in. We're going to do our pregame Wednesday afternoon, and then that way the kids can have from Wednesday afternoon to Friday night off to rest their legs and get themselves ready to go.
Senior night is always an emotional evening for Scott County, but the significance of this year's game gives it even greater importance.
The run to
Kicking off the run to Kroger.
Yeah. So how significant? I mean, is that an emotional night for the coach to see?
No. It's just, I think at this point in time as a coach, you're so focused on, if we can win Friday, it'll be 8 straight district championships. And so
10 out of 11.
10 out of 11. That's exactly right. It'd be 10 out of the last 11 district championships. So, that's our focus. I'm more focused on the picture I want to take of the team after the game if we've won that the kids can have. Now, obviously the seniors have given a lot to the program. My only point, obviously, with senior night is, I don't want it to be something sad like my career's coming to an end. I want for us to have a good, solid postseason run. Our seniors have got to be excited about doing that. When you start thinking about what am I going to do in college, basketball, wrestling, track and field, then you're checking out on today, brother. And we got to have our seniors.
While he is pleased with his own team, McKee is equally excited about the success of other Scott County programs, as well as several college teams with ties to the Cards.
Absolutely. What about a shout out for Coach Neil Brown, who you don't remember, but he played at Boyle County, and then he played at the University of Kentucky, and he now is the head coach of Troy, and they went to LSU and beat LSU.
The Austin P Governors.
What about the Austin P Governors? Are on a 3-game winning streak. They're the story of a 1AA. They played Jacksonville State this week. They broke their home attendance record last week. Georgetown Tigers are undefeated locally. They're undefeated, and our JV team is undefeated. They're 6-0. Our freshmen have struggled a little bit, but they really put by far their best game of the year together last night, beat Bryan Station 55-6. I look for them to finish with a bang. Shout out to Royal Springs 7th grade. They're in the championship game this Thursday against Harrison County.
8th grade.
And Scott Middle 8th grade's in the championship game against Elkhorn. So we've got, you know, there's going to continue to be good football here for a long time.
And that was Coach McKee. It's an emotional time of year for the rest of us, but Coach seems very focused on the battles ahead as we rage into October, November, and he has his eye on everything that the long-term goals that some of us don't always see the forest for the trees, but he's right there looking at those. We talked to players. We wanted to talk to seniors this week because it's a big senior event. Josh Davis, the quarterback, we mentioned, hit the big career milestone the other night. He has run this offense tremendously for 3 years, and this has been, I think, certainly in time I've been here, the most efficient he's been this season. And Zane Wilson, who's a force on the defensive end, long arms, was able to grab on an interception the other night against Henry Clay. Big on the pass rush, big on special teams. Let's see what Josh and Zane had to say about this week's matchup.
Defense and special teams rounded out Scott County's most impressive win of the season at Henry Clay.
Everything on special teams and offense we were clicking. Glenn had a punt return, thanks to everybody's great blocking. But on defense, I think we played probably the best game we played all year, defensively wise. They weren't bad. I mean, they've got great athletes and they shut us out a couple times, but I mean, we did our thing. We faked them on a couple of things, hit them deep, and did what we do.
Our defense played probably its best game, without a doubt. Didn't give up any points with our varsity defense in. Our offense really controlled the pace of the game, and our kicking game was pretty great too.
Zane Wilson's interception, along with 2 block kicks and a punt return by Glenn Covington, made Scott County's win the most complete performance of the year.
Oh yeah, it felt great. It just brings a whole lot of energy back to the team when you're making plays like that.
You get a couple games under your belt, you kind of figure out what everybody's going to do. You get to play against great athletes, and also thanks to Coach Crowley for putting all of our special teams together. I mean, he's a heck of a coach. He knows what he's doing, obviously. Seems to work almost every time we go out there and take the field. So.
The Cards do not seem awestruck by their new neighbor to the south.
They can talk all they want, but whenever we go out there, we've faced all their athletes anyways. I mean, we faced them at Henry Clay, Bryan Station, wherever else they've came from, so it's nothing new. We're going to go out there, we're going to do what we do. We're going to try to score quick, defense is going to stop them, special teams is going to execute like we always do. And if we do that, I don't see any problem with Frederick Douglass.
It's just another game to us. We've played them for 3 years, just through Frederick Douglass and not Station or Henry Clay.
Although it is senior night, Scott County seniors recognize that Friday is not their final home game.
It's a little emotional, but I think most of our seniors kind of have their heads on clear. I mean, it's a big game for us. We win this one, we're winning the district. So it's something also for every athlete. You just dream of the day that whenever you become a senior, playing on senior night and having your family out there with you. Everybody's there to watch you, and I think it'll be a fun atmosphere.
Yeah, it's not really a big deal to me because I know we're going to have at least 2 more games after that, plus the first round of playoffs. So.
With the district title on the line, Friday is an opportunity for the Cards to sew up several playoff home games.
Oh yeah, we definitely want the first 3 rounds at home. It is huge.
We just try to take it step by step. I mean, it starts with district, then go region, and hopefully go to the state championship. So we got to take it one step at a time.